Welcome to the Ignite Christian Business Podcast. Today's episode is a session release from the Ignite Christian Business Conference, Ignite 22. Let's get started with guest speaker, Holly Jochims.
Business marketing coach. What that means is I simplify social media and I teach you how to do it when you don't have a budget. Basically is how I do that. I want to just quickly share a little bit about my family. If I can go to the next slide. Here's a picture of my husband. I have been married to him, a good man of God for 19 years. I go to Lord of Hosts Church. There are several people here that go to Lord of Hosts Church. We have been serving faithfully in the ministry for our entire married life. He brought me to the church. I am a conservative Baptist pastor kid. Where's my conservative Baptist person over there? How many pastors' kids do we have out here? Can I see any? Is there anybody? What? Okay, we're all in this together, for real. I have two teenagers. Wasn't quite sure what I was going to think about that, but now that we're here, I'm really thinking that they're awesome. Teenagers really are fun, so if you are in the starting of having kids, it's worth it. It's worth it. My history is I worked at Channel 6 in town here. I was a production assistant there. I worked with the investigative team, so if you know Mike McKnight, he's a good friend of mine. And so I went from TV to banking because you get tired of working nights, weekends, and holidays, and you want to do banker's hours. So I switched into doing that. I helped a startup bank several years ago, and then in the middle of all of that, I realized, I graduated with a marketing degree before I went into banking, and as we were starting out banking, a few things had changed when we started the bank, and a lot of it was social media, so that's how I started StartPoint Media Group today. That was a few years ago when I started that, but today I wanted to come in and give you guys an encouraging word as business owners. So one of the things that I have found, and you can go to the next slide, that I have found as especially Christian business owners is we spend a lot of time, we've started our business because we felt God has called us to do it, right? How many of you in this room are doing a gift or a talent that God has given you that you have started? There's several of you that are doing that. And what happens is when we get to hitting a roadblock or we run into a situation, we start to question that. Like, God, did I miss something? I took a wrong step somewhere, and I did something wrong, and I feel like nothing's going to work. This isn't going to work. And I wanted to encourage you with that because I feel like Christian business owners are under attack these days, and the enemy likes to mess with our minds because we are going to make an impact for the nation, and what's the best way for the enemy to attack us is in our brain and the calling that God has placed in our lives and the giftings that we have. So this is a scripture that I have stood on, and my husband and I have stood on our entire marriage, and it applies more in my business as I've grown, and it's called Psalm 37:23, and it's the steps of a good man are ordered and established, directed by the Lord. He delights in every way. And I love how the Amplified puts it. He busies himself with our every step. That means that we keep God busy. Okay? We're always keeping him busy, and he likes it. So if we're going to keep somebody busy, we have toddlers, they keep you busy. We keep God busy just like a toddler does. But I want to take you to the next verse, and it is verse 24, and it says, though he falls, he will not be utterly cast down, for the Lord grasps his hand in support and upholds him. So guess what? While we're taking our steps forward, God inevitably says, though. So though he falls, it's inevitable. We're going to make bad decisions. We're going to hit roadblocks. Though we would fall, we would not utterly be cast down. God has already called us to do something. We're taking the steps. We're going to tumble. We're going to fall. We're going to take wrong direction and wrong advice. If you want to slip to the next slide. We are going to ask people for direction, and they're going to lead us the wrong way. It's just the way it is. That's why we need to rely on the Bible, and we need to listen to what God has to say when it comes to what we should do. When we feel like we do something, even if we hit a roadblock, it doesn't mean that what we're doing is wrong. So we can't question ourselves when it comes to it. So I want to give you a real life example. So let's go to Abram in the next slide. I want you to look at Genesis 12, 1 through 3, and this is, I'll paraphrase it a little bit, but the Lord is basically telling Abram, hey, I want you to leave your country, I want you to leave your family, your relatives, leave it all, and go to the land that I told you to go to. Well, he didn't tell him where to go, but he said, I'm going to bless you, I'm going to bless your family, it's going to be amazing in the end. It sounds a little bit like a Jeremiah 29:11, right? So he's already promised all of these things to Abram. And so I want you to go to the next verse. And it says, so Abram departed as the Lord had instructed. And he took Lot with him, and he was 75 years old when he left. So there's a couple different things that I want you to realize. So the promise was spoken, no direction was given. But, so Abram, you can go back to that just for a second. I want to go back to it. So Abram departed. It didn't say anything about him asking, what direction do we go? How many of you know there's north, south, east, west, but there's a whole bunch of things in between all of those directions, right? Abram was like, okay, cool, I guess we'll go. So he went. So I want to encourage you to go, step, move, or leave. We all have to take steps at some point. And I find it interesting, and I was talking to Suzanne, she's in here. I was just talking to you between the break. I love how this verse talks about how Abram was 75 years old. Pretty sure that means it doesn't matter what age you are. When you run into a roadblock, when you start a business, when you restart another business, or when you hit a 2020 and you got to repivot and you got to do all of the things, it does not matter where you are in your current situation. All that matters is that you take a step forward. And I want to encourage you, I want to thank Craig and Desiree for creating an environment for us to take a step. There's going to be speakers tonight, tomorrow, that are going to give you that next step that you need. And there's an entire row of booths over here, back there, over there, that are going to lead you in the right next step that God has called you to do. You know, we have Heavenly Waffles over there. If you're looking to eat healthy and still enjoy your food, go have a Heavenly Waffles. Okay, that's a great opportunity. You can go to my booth, which is right across from Heavenly Waffles. I know everybody wants to eat. So while you're waiting in line for your food or whatever, you can go to mine, which you can go to the next slide. I'm sorry. Oh, I forgot about this one. Okay, go back to that one for a second. We should go back to Psalm 37 where it talks about our steps are ordered. And I love how this verse says, I have been young and now I'm old, or older. Let's be real, we don't want to say old. But I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread. So when we take our steps forward, we are going to not only impact the life that we have today, but we are going to impact the generations that we have. We're going to impact our nation. We're going to do some amazing things for your business, for your life, and for your family. So as you are walking through all of these different steps that you need to take, you made this step to come to the Ignite conference. Some of you made the decision and the step to hop on a plane and fly here. Some of you made the step and the sacrifice of the $50 to get here because you might not have a huge budget. So you are making steps in the right direction, even if it feels like you're stuck. As long as you take a step one way or the other, it doesn't matter what direction you go. You might get some bad advice along the way, but I want to encourage you to find what you can do for your next step. Don't stay stuck. You got to keep moving because the Lord has ordered your steps. He cares all about your details. He busies himself with every single thing that you do. And because of that, and you might fall, but because of that, your seed, your life is going to be blessed beyond measure. So I want to encourage you with that today. And if you need help with with me, with your marketing or whatever you need, if you need help with your social media, come to my booth over there. I have a new program that I'm launching that you get a discount if you want to do it. You can learn more about all of that information. You can scan the QR code, learn all about it. But I want to encourage you, whether it's my booth or somebody else that you need to go to take your next step, I want to encourage you to do that tonight, okay? Thank you guys. Have a great night.
We want you to be ignited. We'd love for you to join us on the next Ignite Community Call. These happen live on Zoom on the second Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. We host a special guest who shares their wisdom and encounters with God over the time that they have followed God in their business. Registration is entirely free, but it is required due to limited spaces. You can register and learn more at ignite-cb.com.